Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Thursdays and Saturday evenings 8 p.m. are Sumit Peer time, and today we have Sumitji. We're going to be talking about this Nijjar narrative that Canada has started, but now it appears to have been, taken out of its hands, and for some reason there appears to be some sort of a problem in its credibility itself. An in-depth report in Washington Post shows all the shoddiness that was there in this investigation. If it was not data on the ground, then on what basis did Justin Trudeau make that announcement in the parliament? It was even an emergency resolution of some sort. So why did all this happen? Who is behind this? Is there a new angle that I touched upon in the morning when I did my monologue? Excuse me. About the ISI connection, and also a few things happening in India. What is the connection here? So to know all this and more, let's welcome Sumit Peer. Sumitji, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel.
Sree sir, namaskar, pranam, vanakkam, sadhuvaad. Thank you very much for the invitation. Always a pleasure. Ji.
So Sumitji, Canada's credibility issue. Washington Post, never a friend of India, has actually poked a lot of holes in this investigation of the assassination of 𝗜𝙧𝙤𝙪 Nijjar. So from that point forward, it has been a downhill slide for them. Now, yesterday we saw Ilhan Omar, an anti-Hindu, Hindu-phobe, anti-India, anti-anything to do with Bharat. This person starts raking it. That tells you clearly that they are trying to bring a new toolkit in play.
Sree sir, today, the best.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying something.
No. Finish it. I mean, I just wanted to give you set the stage. So go ahead. Sure. Why is this credibility issue come now? Then on what basis did Trudeau make that statement?
Sir, सबसे पहले तो गणपति बाप्पा मौर्य, because today is the Visarjan and everybody a very happy celebration and festivities. Bappa का आशीर्वाद हम सब पे बना रहे. So on that note, with his name, we'll do the Sree Ganesha. So the first and the most important thing what has happened is that Canada is getting isolated on the world stage because they jumped the gun. They don't have any credible evidence to show. And the problem is, even if they have the evidence and if they show it, then they look more ridiculous. So first of all, they don't have anything to show. Even if they have the evidence, assuming they have the evidence, and if they show it, then what kind of a banana republic will they look? So Theodore is caught, Justin is caught between, a devil and a deep blue sea. That is what his position is right now. Couple of angles have happened. You see, Canada has been harboring terrorists from very big. From father to son, the legacy continues. Justin and 𝙥𝙤𝙣, are kind of, are sides of the, are kind of sides of the same coin. There's no difference between 𝙥𝙤𝙣 and 𝙥𝙤𝙣, right? They exactly have the same ideology, same mindset, right? Now, what has happened in last few days since we spoke on it? First, the most important thing is that people are not supporting Canada. That is what we know. Now, nobody is really coming up. What about Five Eyes? What about United States? What about other people? They are not coming up. Secondly, people like Bangladesh have spoken and said, look, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's killers were there and you did nothing to extradite them. You did nothing. Then Sri Lankan foreign minister also speaks. You see, you have been also harboring, these terrorists and you've been blaming us for a lot of things which happened in Sri Lanka, and our perpetrators are being, kept or given safe havens in Canada. So that reiterates the Dr. Jaishankar's point that Canada has become a safe haven for terrorists. Now, the third dimension which was added to this with all this going on is, now Justin Trudeau's father's, Pierre Trudeau's foundation, has one striking similarity with the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. Both of them are getting Chinese funds from the CCP. Both of them have received Chinese funds from the CCP. So, what is this? What is the relation about? Now, after that, with all these things happening and the credibility falling, Dr. Jaishankar made a fantastic speech, gave a fantastic speech in the UN, which was very short, precise. But primarily he said, look, the world order has changed. The United Nations is outdated in a way, and the alternate centers of power have emerged. Now, for a country like India, we are now there's a change in strategy. So we are not going to United Nations and asking them, "Bhaiya help karo, Saab help karo." We are not talking that. We are telling them what we are going to do, what our strategy is going to be. If I can say in Hindi, हम जाके announce करते हैं, हम जाके फरमान सुनाते. We are just reading out what our supreme leader, that is Prime Minister Modi, has in his mind and he wants to do. So Dr. Jaishankar, as a representative of the country and as the representative of Prime Minister Modi, has read out a couple of things. The most interesting thing, what I liked about his speech was, look, rule makers cannot be rule breakers as per political convenience. You can set the rules for me and you can break the rules because it's politically convenient to you today to break and tomorrow to enforce them on me. And second thing, which was very clear from what Dr. Jaishankar said, look, you cannot enforce your set of rules on me. What is Canada? Canada is a neighbor of United States of America. That is the only pehchan it has. That is what the credibility it has. 90% of the population, 90% of the country is uninhabitable. Whatever 10% of population you have, 3.5 crores, 4 crores is less than Haryana. Haryana has that amount of population. Now, people can argue with me and say, look, they have a $2 trillion of GDP. Good. That is nominal GDP. But people forget to look at one thing. If you look at PPP, it is 2.3 trillion. So there is hardly any difference between nominal GDP and PPP. How much is our normal GDP? Around 3.8 trillion. And how much is our PPP? It is already at 13 trillion. You can see the difference. You can see the robustness of economy. What is your main economy? Is minerals and transportation and all. That's what you export. That is what you are doing. Do you have a flagship industry? No, you don't have. Are you contributing anything major to the world, population where the world's economy's wheels will stop? No, you don't have that. No. And the problem is that you are becoming what somebody rightly said, you're becoming the Wild West. All kind of terrorists, all kinds of people are coming and living in Canada. That is a bigger problem which Canada has to address. And literally your universities are running on our money. If we start pulling back our students, which we are contemplating as option, then you will have really your education system can collapse. This is the plight of Canada. This is what Canada is made of. And this Vanshivadi, this dynastic leader which you have got by this chocolate-looking Prime Minister, Justin Bhaiya, I mean, it's the last disaster you can have. You don't have any evidence. You said, we have some credible evidence. Where is that evidence? Why don't you talk about it? Why don't you show to the evidence? Rather than going around the whole world and trying to scout for support, you have no evidence. When your evidence started falling, last time you had your papers or your media writing, we have some source. As per that source, there is some alleged evidence which is there. I mean, come on. I mean, does your country run on some newspaper sources evidence? No. And incidentally, now you have even activated the toolkit. Now, Ilhan is talking about that. This is what has happened and all that. This is how Canadians are being targeted and all. We know people like Ilhan have zero credibility. You marry your own brother to get into the United States of America. You divorce some 3-4 husbands to become a millionaire. You came ki bhai khane ko khana nahi hai, this. Kuch nahi hai. Now you have become a millionaire in America. Now we know whom do you work for, what do you work for. Now these international pawns getting and toolkits getting activated talks about that Canada is losing ground. Nobody is willing to buy the story of Canada. And one more thing which happened recently, I think 2 days back, Sulba Bremen, the Home Minister of United Kingdom, right, said that that you see multiculturalism has failed in failed in UK, and courtesy to one community. She's very clearly saying this because of one community that multiculturalism has failed. It has failed in UK. And incidentally, let me remind you, the debt of UK is around $8 to $9 trillion. This is one of the highest in the world. If you look at the GDP of the country, if you look at the size of the country, if you look at the debt of the country, it's more than 3 times the GDP. So she is admitting that this multiculturalism has failed because of one particular community, and she's hinting to the Muslim community, incidentally. Now, here, when we talk of this, in Canada, you have a major problem. Even in the United States, you have a major problem of these immigrants. I was reading yesterday, I think in last week, around some 450,000 immigrants landed in USA in a week, which is almost 1% of the population. It's a big number. And thousands are crossing over like it's no man's land. Everybody can come in. You have seen the rampage of illegal immigrants in Europe. You're seeing the illegal immigrant problem in Canada. We're seeing the illegal immigrant problem in the United States of America. So there is an invasion of the Western civilization which is happening very systematically related to what 𝗤𝗏 𝗲𝗼 has to say. Now look at the Lampedusa. Look at what is happening in Italy. Look at what is happening in Europe. Look what is happening in Canada. Look what is happening in United States. Then eventually, when these kind of things happen, so then the 𝙥𝙤𝙣𝙬 of the world and all, crop up. They are a byproduct of this. Now, gangster nexus and gangsters running out of China, this Canada is a known thing. How many shootouts do we have in Canada? Every second, third day you have a shootout. Who is doing this? So these gangsters who have been always given shelter, there this Chinese involvement, the real estate is controlled by Chinese. We all know that this is happening. Now, what is the twist in the tail? The twist in the tail came when this was established by security experts. First thing, that usually when a person is eliminated by agencies or some military grade people, you fire one bullet. You don't fire 50 bullets at a person who is sitting in a car. So obviously it's a mob hit. Now, who has hired the mob? So it is not any professionals or it's not any agents or anybody who did it. It's somebody from the mob, what we call as gangsters did it. Now, who ordered the hit? Possibly the rivals of Nijjar. And the angle which is coming, which you brought in the morning, Sree sir, is the ISI, because Nijjar was not listening to ISI, Nijjar was not complying to the interest of ISI. So ISI, along with Pannu and along with two of his operatives in Canada, they got together and thought, let's get rid of Nijjar. So by getting rid of Nijjar, you will send a message to everybody. And secondly, you can also put allegations on India. Look, this happened, that happened. Now, the question what I want to ask here, we know what ISI is up to. We know what ISI does. And I have been saying this very vocally that it has become ISI in Istanbul, Dubai, Islamabad, and Ottawa. They can operate freely. So these four places have become the playground of ISI. And this Justin Trudeau and his gang seems to know nothing. Today, the control and the perpetration of ISI into establishments, which I have been talking about, is so high that you can go and convince a prime minister without a shred of evidence, based on some hypothesis that India ordered the kill. You call a session of the parliament and you go and mess around with a very, very powerful economy and a country like India, wherein a lot of support and a lot of your market comes from India. So with these kind of things happening, you can see how much, through Pakistani diaspora and some Muslim diaspora, ISI and the agencies have penetrated into Canada. Today, Chinese can do whatever they want to do in Canada. Pakistanis can do whatever they want to do in Canada. And Khalistanis, they have become a part of the government. And as they're a part of the government, they are able to call the shots. They can make a prime minister dance to their tunes. So if you see, the country is really going into the shambles. And I also read somewhere there's some part of Canada where some Khalistanis declared it's a Khalistan, they are no non-Sikh can enter. So it even implies to the Canadian citizens. Now, with all these things happening, you are talking of a very weak state, you're talking of a very weak government, and you're talking of a grossly incompetent prime minister who doesn't know what he's doing. He has no idea what he's doing. He is just trying to please him. When he's happy, he gets upset. He's trying to please him. Then he's trying to please him. And then he thought because he's white and it's white man's supremacy, he can go to Americans, he can go to Britishers, he can go to Australians, and he can go to everybody who are Caucasian whites, and they will stand behind and rally behind him. But unfortunately, when it comes to the power of India and the diplomacy of India, they have not rallied. And our message is very clear, Sree sir, what Dr. Jaishankar told in United Nations. India is not a pushover. You cannot take us for granted. That is what is happening here. So with all these things happening, that is why props like Ilhan get activated, and we'll see some more props will be activated. This international, men for sale or women for sale, not literally the sale, who are the props for used and who
the Rihannas of the world. The Rihannas of the world.
I don't know, even Mia Khalifa might suddenly start talking about it. So, these all props are getting activated and they will start building this canard. Look how bad India is, how this India has done it. And even what I'm fearing, and I can see already some things happening, because after the crackdown on Khalistanis and their properties and all, which is going to happen, and I think we were first on the P group to report that whole ecosystem is on target. Complete ecosystem is on target. So anybody who has nothing to do with the ecosystem has nothing to worry. But if you're part of the ecosystem, you really need to worry, because we are now meaning action. With this happening, sir, Now, forces within India will be activated. Some people within India are already activated. And, that sympathy and all they will start gathering it. Incidentally, yesterday, SGPC, they passed a resolution and they said, whatever Trudeau is claiming should be investigated. Now, this is not a welcome move because, this Justin is literally a crazy guy. I mean, what we have to do with what he has to say? He's saying that Nijjar was a Canadian citizen and you killed him. I don't know what does SGPC has to do with Nijjar. There's a fundamental disconnect I have with them. Because some people, for their vested interests and political gains, are trying to defame the patriotic Sikhs of the India and the hardworking Sikhs of the world. This is something which everybody should oppose. So these are some developments which have happened, in recently, and with this ISI angle getting more and more direct, and with this, experts talking about why do you need to put 50 bullets in somebody who's in a car? Agencies don't do like that. It's not a military grade kill. It's a mob hit. So now it's a mob hit. Now, what is the proof? The mob was hired by us. There's no proof. What is the proof Canada has produced? There is no proof. You cannot produce a proof. Even if, for the sake of argument, if there's a proof and you produce it, so good luck to us. Prime Minister Modi will get 50 seats more. And that is what you will be really sulking and, you will be rubbing salt to your wounds. So that is not what the cabal wants. Cabal wanted to counter the India. But that countering is not working because there is no evidence. And even if there was evidence, you present evidence, that will become immediately counterproductive for you. Immediately that is going to become counterproductive for you. So now you don't know that, what happened. Now, even our sources say that India, even Nijjar was not for a lot of utility to the Canadians now. Was because he was not listening to them. He was trying to build his own aura. He was getting close to Jagmeet Singh and others who have been helping him. There are pictures which are emerged of Jagmeet Singh with Nijjar. The pictures which are there with, with the Pannu and this Kanishka bomber and I think his father or mother or somebody from a family, and they're saying Khalistani Zindabad and all. So it's all cabal, sir. A failed lawyer becoming a millionaire, Kanishka bombers going freely and casting some kind of a vote, then Nijjar, then Jagmeet, then Justin. This is all a big cabal which has got together. They were trying to use this opportunity to isolate India on the diplomatic forum and to see how Prime Minister Modi can be put in a tight spot. Right? But incidentally, as they are finding no support and nothing like that, they are getting more and more and more cornered. Now, as we know, we have nothing to do with Nijjar's killing. I want to ask one question. Couple of questions. If it was a mob hit, which it looks to be, how is Justin and Jagmeet, J&J, I called them J&J, how is J&J saying this was done by India? What is the proof you have? Point number 2, what was your intelligence briefing Nijjar even 1 week before he was eliminated? Question number 2, why did Nijjar's son say that he has been in talks with the Canadian intelligence? What was Canadian intelligence talking to him? Point number 3. Question number 4. Bhaiya sunna zara aaram se. Please listen to me carefully. Luckily, we don't need an interpreter. Question number 4. If Nijjar was a plumber, how many plumbers in Canada are on a no-fly list, and why is a plumber on a no-fly list? Logical. Question number 5. What was when he was going to Pakistan to do what? What was his relations with ISI? What was his relations with Pakistani terrorist 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, Jaishankar, which have come out by NIA investigation? Can you kindly elaborate on that? What about the picture of Nijjar holding an AK gun in Pakistan? What about the pictures of Nijjar firing an AK gun? I don't know if it's Pakistan or Canada. Now the pictures are in open media. Now, what about question number 8? What about the Nijjar's relation with 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and his syndicate? What do you have to say on that? Question number 9. What about the alleged camps which were run in Canada and where youth were, got brought in to train them? What question number 10? Why is Pannu threatening our Prime Minister, our External Affairs Minister, and our conduct of the World Cup? Again, is he a respected citizen, a respected Canadian lawyer? So now you are saying the respected Canadian lawyers threaten the Prime Minister of the largest democracy of the world, External Affairs Minister of the largest democracy of the world, and threaten our World Cup. Is this what you are trying to say? Is question number 11. Now I have more questions. Question number 12, what I want to ask you. If you do not have evidence, why did you bring this Kannada? Question number 30. If you have the evidence, when? When is the Shubh Muhuratam? Are you waiting for some Shubh Muhurat? Are you waiting for some good occasion or some auspicious day? Let us know the date and time when you can present it, because the thing is, there's nothing. Question number 15. Why is the Americans, Britishers, Australians, New Zealanders, so-called your Five Eyes, not supporting you? Why is your NSA going from pillar to post? Question number 17. And nobody seems to support him. Why your NSA has not been able to get one statement? Question number 18. Can you clarify why Bangladesh and Sri Lanka are putting these allegations on you? What is your role in that? Question number 19. In Kanishka, maximum people which were killed were Canadian nationals. How can that person today cast a vote for Khalistan? What does your government do for that? Question number 20. What about Karima Baloch's killers? What about the person, the Sikh leader who was pro-Modi and he praised Modi ji? He was killed. What about the killers of that? That is question number 20. So I have posed you 20 questions and I have one 21st question. What was in your plane? हिंदी में भी बोलता हूँ, आपके जहाज में क्या था? What was in your plane? हवाई जहाज में क्या था? What was in your official aeroplane? Why were you reluctant to take our plane? Why were you reluctant to take a commercial charter? Why did your plane suddenly, land in London and it also developed a technical snag? Why your so-called press secretary or whoever he is talking like this? Question number 22. Why your formal Pakistani-based advisor is talking and questioning you that you should not have done this? So these are 22 questions which a normal and ordinary citizen of India is asking you through a forum like P-Gurus, which is a very powerful and very internationally read forum. And question number 23, आज पूछ लेता हूँ सर, बहुत सारे question हैं. Why is your GDP 2 trillion and nominal GDP PPP only 2.3 trillion? You claim to be a very powerful country. You're white, we are brown. You claim to have the supremacy, white man supremacy. Question number 24. Why is your monarch, King Charles, not supporting you on that? May I know why he is not supporting you on that? Kya ho gaya? What is the problem? And question number 25th. How will you compensate the people whose properties will be attached here? With my discussion with Sree sir and what we have been discussing and exchanging notes, there are around 400 to 500 people and the list might increase. How are you going to compensate them? And question number 26. Would you, should you, did you decide to protect Nijjar or not to protect Nijjar? Can you be honest on that? Because if you had intent, what did you do to protect Nijjar? I mean, it has nothing to do with us, but whichever mob did it, what did you do to protect this Nijjar? What about the Baloch girl? What about the Ramandi, that Sardar leader, Mr. Malik? So question here is, are people
Ripudaman Malik.
Ripudaman Malik. Bilkul sir, our question number 28, are normal people, ordinary people safe in Canada? If your high profile assets are not safe in Canada, what will happen to a normal Canadian? What will happen to a student? What will happen to a person from diaspora? What will happen to an immigrant there? And let me tell you, just with American numbers are out now. If you look at the housing and all other things, their numbers are almost of 2008. So if this trend continues, US economy might officially go into recession next year, which will go. If it happens, what will happen to Canada? How are you going to survive? And let me give you another good news. By January, the new members of BRICS will join. When the new members of BRICS will join, Justin, now what will happen is they will start trading in the local currencies. So the need and the demand of dollar will come down. If the need and the demand of dollar is going to come down, how are you going to balance your economy vis-a-vis that, with the economic impact from the students and the exports and all, and nobody coming up and helping you out? These are some 28, 30 questions which I have asked, very logical and very sequential questions, and I am very sure you don't have answer to one. Sir, ek last sawal puchta hu. What do you see your next profession? Because you are not going to be in politics. Ab kya karna hai? Chole bhature, dosa, idli, or burger, pizza, or or I have some more ideas, but I can't talk here. You can reach me offline.
Sumit, take a water break. Your cough, your throat is getting parched. And I just want to add to what Sumit said. The Hindu Forum Council of Canada has demanded that a ban be imposed on the entry of 𝗤𝗏𝗼 Pannu into Canada. So they are demanding this because they are saying that this guy has threatened with the lives of all Hindu Canadians.
Correct.
And now he's trying to walk it back, saying, no, only this. No. The video is very clear. And Patwan Singh, Pannuji, your English is not your forte. So you have a problem right there. So decide which language you want to talk. Better not talk anything. Maybe good, best. Because if you're not going to be able to express yourself, what is coming in your mind and what is coming out appear to be different. So be careful. That's all I can say. But the point, I think, is that now the Hindus are beginning to understand that these kinds of passionate, inducement, they're trying to incite people to go and go after the Hindus in Canada. Same problem is going to happen in America if Pannu were to come back here. And I've been saying the same thing. What is US doing? Is he your asset? Because there is a doubt now. Why are you giving these kind of a free rein to the likes of Pannu, also Ilhan Omar, who married her own brother, so her brother could get a green card. They actually studied in college together, along with her first husband and the children, everybody staying in the same complex, everything paid for by the state. I mean, they have abused so many different things, and yet in 2020 they had definite proof that she had committed immigration fraud, and yet they have let her be. What is going on, guys? What is Department of Justice doing? Why did you let this lady off? And you know how she characterized the 9/11 incident, right? She said some people did something. I mean, that is the worst kind of characterization. Can you go and face all the firemen's families who the firemen went up that world tower knowing fully well they will not come back?
Correct.
I mean, some humanity you have to have. You call yourself a congresswoman? Anyway, this person's credibility is completely shot. The alphabet soups will need to find somebody more credible to start peddling their fake narratives. That's all I can say. I hope you can pick up the narrative here. I just wanted to give you a break. Also, viewers, if you have not liked this video, please do like it. If you have not subscribed yet to our channel, do subscribe to our channel. Back to you, Sumitji.
So the point is now that the cabal needs new pawns. Naye pyade chahiye. These old pawns are outdated and useless. They don't have any traction. And you know what happens when these people become old and useless, or not old by age? I mean, they are exposed and they're useless. They get consumed. When they get consumed, then people like us get blamed. Aapne ye kiya, Raki Sajish, this, that. The thing is that Nijjar was useless today. And similarly, there will be other guys who with every passing month or week will get useless for them. Because they want newer khiladi, naye khiladi chahiye na? They want newer guys to come in. So what will you do with the old lot? You eliminate them. You eliminate them by your own. Now, as far as this Pannu is, if I talk of Pannu, my personal opinion is, his fuse has been lit. His fuse has been lit. It's a matter of time, because if he's a CIA asset, he's exposed now. If CCP is funding him, he's useless now. And the kind of panga he has taken with the Indian government, where can he go? India, he cannot come. Canadians will try to get rid of him one day, right? Right. And yeah, today Trudeau also apologized to the Jewish community. I was coming to that. And today, Canadian cannot run. America can how long take him? Because when it comes to India-American relations, when it comes to Indo-Pacific, when it comes to putting China in a box, America needs India. So a 𝗤𝗏𝗼 Pannu is not a big deal for them anyway. I mean, people get consumed, people get, it's a kind of collateral damage, as we tell them. And the American slang is cut him loose. I've seen in a lot of Hollywood movies, they use this, cut him loose. So when you are cut loose, Pannu, what is going to happen to you? And there's no money, no assets, nothing is to happen to you. And all this facade, all this canard which you build, and all your quadri, they will also meet the same fate. Because creating some kind of nuisance and noise is okay, but you have crossed your line. You have crossed your line. Now, you exposed asset is as good as nothing. So my point here is, with all these things happening, the dynamics of Indo-China, India-Canada relations and Indian-American relations are going to change. But America needs India more and India needs America equally. I won't say that anybody needs more or less. But the odd man out is Canada. Now look, UK wants to do FTA with us. They are not stopping. Australia has FTA with us. New Zealand, I don't consider. It's a good country, or respect for them, but not a power. So if you look at these five ways, they are not supporting you. Now, incidentally, you have this migrant problem, which is also increasing. Where is this Bradford? So Bradford is in Canada? Bradford?
Yeah.
So now I was reading that this province is almost going bankrupt because of so many migrants are coming and they're trying to...
I think what you meant was the city of Birmingham, maybe. Birmingham is a city that has gone bankrupt.
Even Bradford, I was reading that they are in a lot of crunch because of...
Could be. It's possible.
A lot of immigrants have come there. Yesterday, I was reading somewhere, even in New York, they're going to pay for next 3 years $12 billion to kind of take care of these
illegal immigrants. That's a cost. That is the cost to the New York state to maintain the illegal immigrants who are all staying in 5-star hotels.
Sir, $12 billion. I could not count the zeros. I did it 3 times. $12 billion for illegal immigrants. I mean, something drastically is wrong in the world today. Something drastically is wrong. And this and that, and this equality index and the gender index and all these things which are happening here. And today, what I am fearing about Canada is, with a very small population, and as per my research, what I have,
Bradford is in UK. Thank you.
That's why I asked you, is it in Canada? I didn't. So as per my research, what I kind of asked you, I have seen a lot of Indian now diaspora, which has been settling here for 10, 15 years and all. There is a Bradford in Ontario, Canada as well. So I don't know which Bradford it is. Maybe it's in Canada. Canada wala bhi hai. So now a lot of Indian people have started coming back. And a lot of people have started moving back to India. So there is also a development in that. And now the Canadian PR and all is not a great enticer. And there's one of the viewers who has written to me. She's an elderly lady living in Canada. She told me, Sumit, you should bring this up in P-Gurus. That she's a 79-year-old lady. She told me, look, I have been in Canada for the last 25 years. What I have seen in Canada, that in a makan, in a basement, you start a university, 2-room university. No professor, no teacher. What is done, the scam which is run is the Canadian government is keeping the eyes closed. So what do? You get hold of students from Punjab, from here and there, right? Now, what are they doing? This is why compulsory Khalistanis, Pakistanis are violating
voting collectively.
Okay. Now, what these students are doing, Sree sir, they are trying to get these students, and by the students, the jugaad is, or the bigger plan is to get them immigration. So this university, this school is only a facade, 2-man ka hai. The Canadian government knows it. People who are getting admission cannot speak a word of English, for that. So they're just using it's that arrangement, or what we call in Hindi the jugaad, to get people Canadian citizens. So a lot of money is being minted. And what I'm coming to know from the people who, in confidence, and some people other who keep on talking to me, they're telling me a lot of these are even financed and run by these Khalistanis. So they are running them. It's a good way to mint money. So you can get students, you can make money from there, you can get money from there. And it's also become a money churning business. And Canadian government and its intelligence is completely close to it. And let me ask you, Justin Theodore, I forgot to ask you 31st question. What have you done to the natives of Canada? What was that re-engineering, or what Chinese used to run these re-education camps? You have run them for 100 years. What is the relevance of 30th September in your Canada when you acknowledge there was a genocide? How many mass graves of kids from 2 to 4 years have been found in Canada? And every time there's a mass grave, I've done numerous debates on 𝗒𝙬𝙬. I'll also name the channel, not to promote the channel, but to tell you. I've done numerous debates on that where we have discussed how these mass graves are always found in Canada. So am I wrong to say that you got these native Canadians and told them, we'll teach you how to become English and how to learn the Caucasian values and all? Now, am I wrong to say that there was sexual torture, sexual abuse of girls? Am I wrong to say every time you find a grave of 2,000-3,000 mass graves in Canada? This is what your forefathers and your history is with the natives of Canada, the people of the land. And once they tried to, the natives, I forget the place, they tried to block a road or something, you called for the cavalry. And what happened in Montreal 2 days back? 3 days back? 100,000 government servants hit the road. And they were asking you for their pensions and dues. The food is scarce. The food is scarce in whole of Montreal. Housing is a problem in whole of Canada. You have not been able to solve it. We have given 30 million houses. You have not been able to give anything. More than 30 million, sir. More than 30 million houses. You have not been able to give anything. The inflation is all-time high. Fed rates have gone high. Housing is a problem. Law and order is becoming a problem. Every second, third day, there's a shootout happening between these gangs. So with all these things happening, who is in the control? I think nobody is in the control. And I want to ask this question very, very directly today. Why in Canada, we have found numerous instances of mass graves of kids, 2, 4, 5 years. Why sexual torture of these natives was done? Why did you separate the kids from their parents and put them in some re-education camp? What is that about, sir? If you have not, you acknowledge your forefathers were doing genocide for 100 years. 100 years of genocide. Just, I think, I can't remember the year, they closed them very recently. And now what is the relevance of 30th September? 30th September, I believe, you have kept as a day where you remember all this. So 30th September is nearing, and the people in Canada, if you don't know what it is, find why this 30th September is marked as a day. What happened? What was these re-engineering or re-education camps about, which lasted for 100 years? Where are the natives of Canada today? Jo asli log the natives, where are they? Where have they disappeared? Where have they disappeared? मतलब तुम्हारे तो वही है, किसी को हम किसी के सगे नहीं, ऐसा किसी जिसको ठगा नहीं, किसी के सगे नहीं. You have not even let the natives of the land to whom the land belonged to live. That is your history. And you are getting money from CCP and China, your father's foundation. That is the reality. Even somebody's in the gentleman burned down. Even I have heard this. There were instances, sir, mass graves of 2 to 5-year-old kids. Bataiye, tell me in which country have you found such mass graves? Which country? Sir, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell viewers, we are getting ready to take your questions. I just wanted to add one little thing. The church actually apologized to the natives of Canada on what they did. But the church is yet to apologize to the Hindus for the genocide that Winston Churchill committed.
Correct.
No, the reason I'm saying this is the church is not the Church of Canada, the Church of England. The Archbishop of Canterbury is the Pope of the Church of England, the equivalent, top guy. And he came and apologized there, but he never did anything to the Hindus. What about Hindus, guys? I mean, this is something that's a documented fact. Churchill took the produce out of Bengal because he wanted to store it for his soldiers who were fighting World War. It was never your grain to touch. And the British still haven't explained how they gave a free rein to Suhrawardy when he was allowing the direct action to happen.
Correct.
In Kolkata in 1946. You guys were still in power at that point of time. What were you doing? Just holding your hands and watching the whole thing happen? So these people, they have lost it, completely lost it now. The point, I think, is that Canada has a problem and the Five Eyes are now slowly distancing themselves. I tell you that even Ilhan Omar will shut up now because there's so much pushback. In fact, an Indian parliamentarian is taking pot shots at her, Shiv Sena's Priyanka Chaturvedi. So it is getting a little tough now. You can't sit on the lies and then keep on propagating these and hoping that something will stick. Okay, so this is where things stand. Sumitji, just take a minute or so to summarize and then we'll take the questions. Go ahead.
I want to take some 1 minute. I just want to take 1 minute.
Yeah.
First thing I want to say is, now every individual, I've sent this on the TV also, national TV, every individual, every organization, every person, even an animal or a human or any living creature has a right of self-defense, right? ठीक है ना? इतना तो ठीक है ना? Now tell me, is India and India's exception to this rule? Are you telling me 1.4 billion Indians and the world's largest democracy and the most populous country is exception to this rule? You can harbor all the terrorists. You can run all the gangs from there. You can give them political patronage. You can do everything. But when it comes to India and Indians, we are exception to the rule. We are sting ducks. I should have a dartboard here. Come on, right? This kind of mentality, this kind of white man supremacy has to go. Time has come, it has to go. And let me remind you, it is not the India of 2013. A lot of people say, I don't know how far it is true. They say one thing, Sree sir, here. Up to 2013, India was run by earlier by KGB, then by CIA. After 2014, India is run by Indian. That is the difference I want to tell them. I want to make sure they get it in English. There's no need of a translator here. So gone are those days. So don't expect a 2013 wala response in 2023. The response is going to be altogether different. And with a limited point, I want to make sure we have a right of self-defense. It doesn't mean that US has a Patriot Act or not. We have it or not. If US in its national interest can take out Qasem Soleimani, if US can take out Osama bin Laden, I think we also have some rights, right? That's the limited point I want to make. Namaskar.
Thank you so much. And now let's take a few questions. Pardeep Shori wants to know, Sumit Peer ji and Sree ji, thoughts on SGPC comments on Canada matter? Looks like they are straddling on the fence too much. They will tear their kachera.
You see, what does SGPC do, in my opinion? That is unfortunate. And this is not what was expected out of them. But I think this might be more of a political compulsion where they have to do something like this. But if I tell you on Punjab and between our Sikh brothers, there is not even one iota of support for Nijjar, for Trudeau, or for this Khalistani. That I can tell you with all the conviction at my command. There are people who are trying to ferment this Hindu-Sikh divide, but they will fail. They have been trying for a lot. And let's not forget the K2 desk. K for Khalistan, K for Kashmir. It's still up and running from Pindi. Let's not forget that. They're also doing their job. So some things happen here and there. It's okay.
And the Indian government also can step in and make sure that Simranjit Singh Mann and other such MPs don't keep writing these arbitrary letters. Also, viewers, think this thing through a little bit. A rural Punjabi boy wants to go to Canada. He has a little bit of 4 bhiga land hai, 4 acre ka land hai. He wants to sell it. Suddenly, who's going to give you the money to buy it? Most likely somebody sitting in Canada or US or in UK. They're earning money in dollars and pounds and what have you. They can easily buy this land. And so essentially what happening is, this is my analysis, and they are ending up large chunks of land. And they are not farming that land. So what happens? They have to go and find somebody to farm it for them, which is why they are opposing the farmers' bill, because the original landowner is not in Punjab. The guy is sitting somewhere else. So this confiscation of properties that India is planning on doing, where they will not only catch you, but also all your benamis, and your entire land holding is going to go up for auction. Okay, so this is a problem for these guys. So they will make noise, they will put pressure through SGPC, they'll put pressure through many more things. Many more things are going to happen. But as long as India stands firm and it does according to the law, I don't see any issue with it, because this needs to be solved now and forever. 1971, this thing started. 52nd year. This Khalistan movement started in 1971. Read Cowboys, Kaoboys, by the Raw specialist B.N. Raman. Amazing book about how, Pakistan, China, and those days US used to be Pakistan's ally, how they used to mess with India. Because you have to understand the history so that you know what is going to happen next. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Let's go to the next question. Magnet Ranga wants to know, Namaskar, on whosoever behest Trudeau may have started this controversy, it seems that he himself would have to now pay a price. Is there a conspiracy against Trudeau himself? Well, go ahead, sir.
Ranga sir, somebody taught me one thing. I was pretty young in my career, and he taught me, leave an idiot in a room with a rope, and just walk away. Whereas rope and idiot will settle themselves.
Now, now this drugs on the plane angle becomes more and more valid, because, this is like back home, right? Somebody is being chased, so he swears as he's running away, mere baste mein aa, main dekh lunga tere ko.
देख लूंगा तुम्हें, हाँ
right?
देख लूंगा,
Ah, so that's
देख
what
लूंगा.
seems to be to me. Very low-level earthy logic. This is what it seems to me. He runs back to Canada and he starts making all these statements.
सर
So the
जहाज में
drug
कुछ
angle needs to. US, India may have the trump card. They may just play it finally, saying that this is what really happened. So we'll see.
सर जहाज में कुछ तो था, अब लगता है जहाज में बहुत कुछ था.
Anshuman Singh wants to know, sir, protest again started today in Punjab for farmers. It's all linked. Khalistan, farm protests, drugs and ISI. We need something big from government. Is there anything we can expect?
I think Singh Saab, what government is doing is the right thing. You have, you don't have to match pace with them, but you have to do, you have to make sure how does the military operate. Military operates on conquer, consolidate and move. Don't take them literally, but conquer, consolidate and move. That is how the governments work and how the agencies work. So these people are irked. As these people are irked and rattled, that is why you're seeing this happening. And I explained to you in one of the hangouts how even the China CCP was involved in the farmer protest. We know ISI was involved on this. How China CCP was involved in the farmers protest as well. So now geopolitics in India is becoming more important than the normal politics. Normal politics is easy. It's between us and but when it comes to geopolitics, you have various kinds and types of players which come up and which are being cropped up at the right point of time. So we need to be very sure how to handle them. So government has to, do what they are doing at the right step. There's no need to react to their knee-jerk reactions.
Next question, please. Peace K wants to know, Justin's evidence is from internet, from CAIR or IAMC or some other such flaky organization who promote anti-India news. How foolish can one be to listen to these guys? We don't know, Peace K. Go ahead, answer. We don't know where he got it.
We don't know where he got it. Obviously, it's a figment of imagination. And some people even claim that, I don't know, so that he could not make it to the G20 dinner because he was pretty high and he was not in a walkable condition to make to the dinner. So
proper frame of mind.
When people have these kind of problems, so your fantasies can go really wild. You can think anything. ठीक है भैया, हो गया. क्या?
Next question, please. Rahul Rathod wants to know, in Punjab, all communities are affected by drug problem. Only few K thugs and their immediate associates. Which community is majority in Punjab, Jatt or Ravidas Sikh? Your view, sir.
I'm not sure on that. I think it's the Jatt Sikhs which are in majority. And all the communities are affected. That is 100% sure. There is no doubt on it. It has been always a ploy by Pakistan. When you cannot radicalize, just make them, drug addicts. So because drug addicts, if you see a lot of crime in the world is done by, unfortunately, the people who are addicted to drugs. Because their addiction makes them cross the boundaries very easily. That is what the whole idea is. If you have to kill a community, what do? You make their youth useless. And that is what unfortunately, ISI has been doing. And these K guys, Khalistanis, have been supporting them against their own community. मैं तो ये बोलूं. Because without their support, ISI could not have caused that quantum of harm which they have caused. There was support in Punjab. There is support in Punjab. And is unfortunately because some of the guys, for their vested interests, for their Canadian dream, and for their, Bangla Gadi and the big jeeps and all they have, they are literally trading off their own youth. They are late trading of their future generations. It is so unfortunate it's happening in my country. My heart shatters because youth are the power of the country. And, we have seen people like Nirmaljit Singh Sikhu, we have seen Bhagat Singh, we have seen Udham Singh. We have seen this is what Sikhs were known for. Not this, unfortunately. The handful of these Sikhs are bringing, shame to the whole Sikh Panth. I mean, that is so heart-shattering. That's so heart-shattering. So unfortunate.
Karthik Vishwanathan wants to know, sir, I think this incident was state-sponsored. Why Washington Post suddenly cozying up to India?
Washington Post is cozying up to India because they are seeing the Indian diplomatic cloud. They know now they cannot, you see, if I am Washington Post editor, or I'll do something and test the waters. How does it go? But if I see the repercussions are more than what I'm going to gain, what will I do? I'll start backing out. That is what Washington Post has started doing now. They will eventually have to back out because fundamentally the premise of your argument is flawed, is a myth, is a canard. You all know it. So that's why I'm telling you, the response they expected in 2013 is not coming from 2023. That is where they have gone wrong. They thought it will be like 2013, India will be ducking, India will be trying here and there, they'll say, okay, we'll investigate. In fact, India will go and arrest a few of its own citizens. That's what they expected. Now, it's a different India. And if you look at why did I bring in what did Dr. Jaishankar say in UN? Because those 4 or 5 minutes, what he spoke about the issue, is everything. Sir, मैं एक चीज बोल दूं हिंदी में. Once Prime Minister Modi said, हम घर में घुस के मारते, हम घर में घुस के मारते. That we will come and hit you at the time and place of your choosing, wherever you are. That's the English translation of it.
Our choosing.
How do you assume, presume, and believe it's only for Pakistan? Did he only mention Pakistan? No. He didn't mention Pakistan. No? So why are people getting so worked out? Right? You harbor terrorists, you harbor gangs, you orchestrate killings from there, you order killings from there, you're giving them political patronage, you're getting them mainstream into politics. And you have gumption of getting along with your defense minister who's a known Khalistani. I mean, how much can you think you can insult the sharafat of 1.4 billion people? Come on, give me a break. We are living and breathing 1.4 billion people for the sake of God. We're not some dummies. We are not those terracotta warriors. No, those dummy Chinese warriors. And people of India are more literate about politics than a lot of countries in the world. That is a reality of life. So people need to appreciate that. People need to respect us for what we have, where we have reached by now. It's not we are demanding respect, we are commanding respect. Situations have changed. Next question, please.
Next question, please. Kesar wants to know, was 5i using Khalistani as bargain to control India because all their associate nations harbor Khalistanis?
To a great extent, you are right. Because all their associate nations, somewhere, Khalistanis are getting harbored to some smaller extent or bigger extent. Now, you see, they don't want Prime Minister Modi to come. It's a very, very simple thing. This whole fiasco was there to... Main target was Prime Minister Modi. Second target was Dr. Jaishankar, if I can be very candid. Because you will say that Prime Minister Modi organized this. Then Dr. Jaishankar's aggressive foreign policy has failed. And third will be somewhere Mr. 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝙁. So this was a ploy wherein you could get all the three. You could get Modi, you could get... But naturally, Mr. Modi is impacted, Mr. Amit Shah is impacted. You can get 𝗤𝙤𝙁, you can get Dr. Jaishankar. So it was a very thought out thing. And what my sources are telling me, that for last few months, I think from May, June, they have been doing some meetings and people have been traveling the globe and trying to build some, bhumika, build some, whatever, the screenplay around it. So this has been happening since June. So we are in September today. It didn't start in September. It is starting from June. A lot of groundwork was done in June. And the people think that we are not aware. We don't know कि June se kya ho raha. I mean, come on. Like Chinese, we are not on opium. We are on dal chawal. We know what's happening.
Next one, please. Raviraj Singh wants to know, Jai Hind is a deep state to hit Bharat via indirect channel. India is destroying UN and diluting its power with the help of G20 Quad. Your kind views, please.
You see, Singh Saab, deep state is an international cabal which is present in every country and it will have even members in India. It's not in India, there will be nobody of deep state, there will be. These people want to dominate the world and world economics and want to control the political party. So they get the set of political parties which are favorable to them. They give them money, they give them support. It's like you're fighting an invisible army, right? It's like you're fighting an invisible army. They all do not want Prime Minister Modi to come. It's very, very simple. They want a Prime Minister who will talk of coalition dharma. They want a Prime Minister who will talk of, compulsions of coalition. Who will talk about, how timid and weak India is. Who will talk about always the majburi, why we cannot act. They don't like this man. And what did I tell you today? A lot of people told me in the echelons of power sometime. And by up to 2013, it was earlier KGB than CIA running the India. It's only after 2014 an Indian is running the India. And India has transformed a lot, and that is what these people don't want. They want compromised. They want a Mili-Juli Sarkar. They want a compromised government. They want a weak Sarkar, wherein you could really dictate them the terms. They will say, yes, sir, we'll do it, sir. So that, yes, sir, is not happening. Why do you do Dr. Jaishankar is powerful? What did Dr. Jaishankar say in one of the interviews? He says, only power can ensure peace. If you are powerful, your diplomacy will prevail. If you are not powerful, your diplomacy will not prevail. That is as per Dr. Jaishankar. These are not my words. So this is where the problem is.
Now let's wrap up quickly. 2 questions and 30 seconds each. Chaitanya Takle wants to know, is your Jewish lobby so strong that Trudeau apologized to them but not India?
Once we were discussing this, Chaitanya ji, what Jews create IPR. We create, what do we create? We are immigrating, and we are creating less per hourly price to do a job. So that's the call we have to take. If we start creating the IPR, everybody will apologize to us 5 times.
Next one, please. Prashant Upadhyay wants to know how this dispute will end between India and Canada.
You see, world has to realize and swallow the bitter pill. We have a right of self-defense. And these allegations and these canards can't buckle down the power of 1.4 billion people. We were too big for you to push us down. You will realize this. It will be a pinch of salt with a bitter pill which you have to swallow. The world is getting used to swallow this bitter pill. And eventually they will settle and live with it. And we'll also send message to our enemies and perpetrators. If a Munich could be done by Israel, how many years back? 2, 3 decades back, 4 decades back? We are a much bigger country than Israel.
Thank you so much, Sumit ji. And before we draw curtains on this program, Sumit ji has a small message. Go ahead, sir.
This is about my advisory service, sir. The ID here is sumitpeerofficial@gmail.com. I'm getting a great response. Thank you very much. So if you are facing problems with life, business, career, economics, geopolitical impacts on business and other related aspects, you can write on this ID and my team will help slot an appointment with you, which is private and confidential, 1-to-1 as a paid advisory. So that is about it. And please feel free to write to us and we'll take it from there. That's it.
Thank you so much. And viewers, will be back very shortly on our Hindi segment with Sumit ji. So do kindly log in for that. We will be putting out the tweets, and the YouTube information is already up there, so you can join on that channel. Thanks once again, Sumit ji. Namaskar.
She said namaskar, pranam, vanakkam, and sadhuvad, and I want to say Ganpati Baba Moria and Har 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 Mahadev.